80% of North American college students have had a hookup, but what's the hidden cost? From higher STD rates and emotional fallout to trust issues that can sabotage future relationships, hookup culture may be shaping your love life in ways you don't even realize. Let's break down the pros, the cons, and how to protect yourself emotionally and physically before your next no-strings-attached night. Terms like friends with benefits and hookups are used regularly, especially on college campuses, where about 81% of undergraduates engage in different types of hookup culture. When it comes to millennials, many of them follow the hookup culture. The hookup culture is so followed that 80% of North American college students have had some sort of hookup experience. This trend is defined as one modern way individuals, especially young people, refer to casual sex encounters. In contrast, the baby boomer generation tended to focus more on the emotional aspect of a relationship and reaching the ultimate goal of marriage. Baby boomers value relationships. They grew up making phone calls and writing letters, solidifying strong interpersonal skills. They focused more on setting an intimate and passionate atmosphere with their partner in person and being more romantic. I advise you to take note that although the majority of millennials and Generation Z individuals partake in the hookup culture, that doesn't mean you have to if it doesn't align with your value system, your inability to emotionally detach and lower behavioral standards for a sexual partner, and if it doesn't make you feel respected and honored. Some people care more about respect than sex and love, and so find themselves completely uninterested in the hookup culture, for it leaves holes for potential disrespect and degradation. Make sure you follow your own wishes and not the crowd when deciding whether the hookup culture is for you. I will list the cons and pros to the hookup culture so you may weigh whether the hookup culture is a right fit for you. Now that we know the hookup culture is rampant, what are the cons to the hookup culture? The hookup culture has brought issues such as a higher increase in STD cases, greater cases of rape, and emotional and mental instability in people's lives. It has also conditioned people to separate emotions from sex and break arrangement after arrangement off, which trains them not to fully attach in relationships and break these off frequently as well. Breaking off relationship after relationship conditions someone for divorce. According to Dr. 𝐾𝐿 from Physician One Urgent Care, she states that the Center for Disease Control have recorded nearly 50% of the 20 million new STDs diagnosed each year are among young people between the ages of 15 to 24 years. A large percentage of these cases occur among college students, who often underestimate the risks of having unprotected sex. STDs can lead to serious health issues if untreated and could alter a person's quality of life. Rape is also another issue within the hookup culture because in some occasions the hookups were not consented by both parties due to the amount of alcohol or drugs in the person's body. All of the issues found in the hookup culture all lead to people evaluating themselves and their self-worth after hooking up and being constantly doubtful about the relationship with the person they hooked up with, especially since the person still remains active on the app. After a hookup, some millennials might start to think negatively about themselves and begin to doubt themselves. As stated by Justin Garcia in Sexual Hookup Culture, he mentions how a study was done on college students asking them how they felt after a hookup, and they responded. 27.1% felt embarrassed, 24.7% reported emotional difficulties, 20.8% experienced loss of respect, and 10% reported difficulties with a steady partner. This reveals hooking up doesn't just have short-term effects, but also long-term effects, because past hookup experiences can affect some people's attachment, trust, and comfort level with their current committed partners. Also, friends with benefits relationships tend to last longer than relationships because the expectations for proper, consistent behavior are not instilled. Since uncommitted friends with benefits partners tend to last a long time, these friends with benefits partners often will contact a partner once he or she is in a committed relationship, oftentimes not respecting the boundary that the other is now committed to someone else. These communication interruptions could create unrest or mistrust in a current relationship. Since hooking up is mainly sought after for no strings attached pleasure, it is important to look at how frequently women actually receive physical pleasure from hooking up, since it is typically not as easy for women to orgasm compared to a man. When it comes to the pleasure side of hooking up between male and females, it has been stated that 40% of women had an orgasm during their last hookup involving intercourse, while 80% of men did. This creates a problem because hooking up is giving more pleasure to men. This could lead women feeling unsatisfied because their expectations were not met, and that made their experience unpleasant. Men need to become well-versed in what typically makes a woman orgasm, which are an emotional connection, going at the woman's comfort level pace, and communication on their sexual likes and dislikes. The majority of women need to feel some level of trust that he cares for her to some capacity, and that she is physically and emotionally safe for her to be able to open her body up enough to receive an orgasm. This is one reason why friends with benefits instead of one-night stands or a casual sex partner tend to be women's preferred casual sex option. Not only do hookups affect people who want to build a future relationship, but it oftentimes hurts women and creates a stereotype around them as well. It is brought to attention that women are mostly called whores, dirty, and sluts when hooking up with a guy. But this does not always occur for men, for men evolutionarily and societal-wise are often accepted for sexual prowess and having many sexual partners. Some studies have shown how people who had the most regret after uncommitted sex also had more symptoms of depression than those who had no regret. On top of psychological and emotional injury, STDs, potential lack of orgasm, and rape, other issues are more likely to occur, such as sexual violence and unintended pregnancy. These issues become more likely to occur when the hooking up becomes frequent and when alcohol or drugs are involved. What are the pros to the hookup culture? When it comes to strengths, the focus is on how it allows people to experiment with different genders or even just different preferences when it comes to sex, without the commitment to one person. The hookup culture allows millennials and college students to sexually experiment with a diversity of people. Sex would provide a person knowledge on what their likes and dislikes are, how comfortable they are with certain sexual activities, and having multiple partners gives them variation. If you decide to engage in the hookup culture, what are solutions for navigating the hookup culture to ensure your emotional and physical health? There are ways that millennials could avoid hookup issues and feeling unhappy. This can occur by taking a step back, communicating your feelings and expectations to the other person, remembering your goals and intentions for future relationships, and knowing that hooking up could potentially damage this process. Experts recommend trying to communicate about your needs in first meet. You can tell the person about the needs that you are looking for or you are interested in fulfilling in general. This kind of communication would aid you in deciphering whether the other person's relationship goals align. You can also win the trust of the other person within a limited span of time. On another note, it might be uncomfortable for some people to open themselves in the first meet because they think they might scare away the other person. But it's the most practical method. If you do end up scaring the other person away, then that happens to be a win for you because then you avoided emotional immaturity or someone who is not on the same page as you. Furthermore, using this method, a person can avoid feeling sad, overwhelmed, or doubtful, and it can improve their self-esteem. When setting out to engage in the hookup culture, be aware that gender stigmas do exist out there due to evolution and societal standards set for women and men. According to Kate Dwyer from Teen Vogue, she mentions how 31% of men and 21% of women have respected someone less after hooking up with them, while 22% of men and 54% of women have had the feeling that someone respected them less after hooking up. Don't let the act of hooking up influence how you view yourself and how men and women respect you. And more importantly, don't let it cause you to prematurely detach from someone who could become a great partner if you decide to go this route after a hookup. Secondly, a person should always know or at least consider the risks. If you know you will be hooking up with someone that night, then remember to give full consent and go into the situation knowing you just want sex and nothing more. Millennials should be clear with themselves on what they want their relationship to be like and what their goals are. Similarly, they must make sure that their partners want the same to avoid hurting themselves and another.